The legendary Pokemon Cobalion is in 5-star legendary raids during this week, and if you want to know how to take down this Pokemon, pay attention to this video. I will be providing you with a comprehensive raid guide and going over the best counters. Alright, how's it going everyone? Count Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon GO video. I hope your day is going really well, and let's get right into it. So 3 out of the 4 Swords of Justice Pokemon are going to be in 5-star legendary raids during the month of July, and the first of these is going to be Cobalion, and actually at the time that I'm recording this video, it is already in raid battles. For a lot of players, they may go after Cobalion specifically for PvP, but I will say out of the 3 that are going to be featured during this month, Terrakion is probably the one you will want to go after, specifically because of how good it is when it comes to PvE content. But Cobalion is definitely a good one, and for most PvPers, they are always looking to get themselves a Cobalion from trades, so I do think this is one that you should still stock up on. But taking down Cobalion is not very straightforward because of its typing. It does have the steel and fighting type combination, which does give it a lot of resistances and also gives it very few weaknesses, but I will say it is not that difficult to take down. In fact, you only need maybe one other trainer in your raid party because of how easy it is, and as long as you're both bringing the best counters, I think you'll be okay. So yeah, let's go over everything you need to know regarding Cobalion raids, and then afterwards, let me share some of my thoughts. Cobalion is a steel and fighting type Pokemon, which means it's going to be weak against ground type, fighting type, and fire type raid damage. But it's also going to be resistant against rock, poison, bug, dark, dragon, normal, ice, grass, and steel, so do not bring any Pokemon with those attacks. It's going to be very ineffective against Cobalion, and considering that this Pokemon has very little health, it's best if you bring your best fighting types, ground types, and fire types, and you will be good to go. Now, in terms of perfect IVs, you will want to encounter one with 1727, and if it's weather boosted, it's going to be 2159. Cobalion is weather boosted by cloudy weather, which is actually a pretty common weather type, as well as snowy weather, which unfortunately is going to be extremely rare in the summertime. Now, if you want to secure the win against Cobalion, like I said, you do not need that many trainers. You could secure the win with just 4 trainers that are at least level 30 with the best counters, or you could duo this Pokemon very easily with the best counters as long as both of you are level 40 and all of your Pokemon are also level 40 at least. Now, in terms of the best counters, these are the Pokemon you will want to bring. If you have a Mega Lucario, that is definitely going to be your best option, but Primal Groudon is also really good. But I will say that between these two, Mega Lucario is probably going to be better considering that it does have some type resistances against some of Cobalion's attacks, and also because it does deal just a little bit more DPS overall. Now, alongside these Pokemon, you will want to consider bringing Shadow Groudon and Shadow Heatran if you have those, or you could go with Landorus Terrian form. That is a really solid Pokemon to bring. And then in terms of budget counters, you should consider bringing Lucario and Darmanitan. Both of those are also really good Pokemon up against Cobalion, and they do deal quite a bit of damage. This is a very straightforward fight, and it just requires any of the 3 types that it's weak against. You could go with pretty much anything. If you have a Terrakion, for example, that is also a really good Pokemon, or if you have some really good ground types, but you do not have any good fighting types or fire types, then go with those ground types. It really is a mix and match kind of raid boss. It's going to be very weak. It's not necessarily that powerful. So that means if you bring the right Pokemon, you will have a very easy time up against Cobalion. Now, could you potentially solo Cobalion? I don't think so. I don't think it was ever recorded that Cobalion could be soloed, but if you utilize every advantage that you have, you will have a very easy time duoing this boss. Other things you should consider is, of course, Behemoth Blade, which is the new adventure effect from Crown Sword Zacian that will give you a boost in your attack damage, and then of course there is Party Play, which is basically like a cheat code when it comes to raid battles, and then of course there is friendship bonuses. If you utilize all of these, you will have a very easy time taking down Cobalion. So yeah, as I mentioned, Cobalion is decent for PvP, and that is probably why some players will actually go after it, but it is not necessarily good for raid battles. It doesn't have a very good moveset for raids. It's not necessarily going to be that impactful when it comes to PvE content like Team Go Rocket battles and gym battles, but I will say that this Pokemon is still something that players will go after specifically because of PvP. Yeah, I will say that when it comes to the Swords of Justice Pokemon, I've always personally just focused on Terrakion. That is the one that I feel is the most impactful, especially if you can get the special move, which I believe is Sacred Sword. If you do not get Sacred Sword, then yeah, it's not necessarily going to be that good. But if you do get Sacred Sword with an Elite Charge TM, or if it happens to be in the move pool, it is definitely worth going after. But I will say for Cobalion and Virizion, both of those are not necessarily that special. Even when it comes to PvP, their rankings have fallen off quite a bit. But yeah, maybe you are someone who is interested in PvP, and that is the reason why you would go after Cobalion. And then of course we have Keldeo, which is the Swords of Justice Pokemon that has been missing for quite some time. I did see a Reddit comment saying that it is basically in timeout from the paid research ticket. Yeah, it's really sad. I feel like Keldeo is the one that a lot of players would want, and yet Niantic and Scopely have not yet released that Pokemon, and maybe one day we will get it in raids. I really do not know. I really hope they'd never bring back elite raids, but I could definitely foresee Keldeo being an elite raid boss. That would definitely be interesting, and it's something that players have certainly asked for in the past. But as of right now, we have never seen Keldeo in raid battles, and we've only seen it once through a special research, so yeah, I think that's the Swords of Justice Pokemon that players actually care about. But in any case, that's going to be it for this video. Let me know your thoughts regarding Cobalion and everything else that I talked about down below. Is there a reason why you are going after Cobalion? Do you feel like this Pokemon is actually worth it, aside from PvP? Definitely share your reasons for thinking that down below. I'm very interested to see what you have to say. And yeah, let's have a great discussion. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And don't forget that notification bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. Real quick, let me give a shout out to all of my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support the Content Slow channel, the best way you could do that is going to be by joining my Patreon. And if you become a paid Patreon member, I'm going to add you to my Pokemon Go friends list. That means for stuff like remote raids, the friendship system, opening and sending gifts. If you want to play Pokemon Go with me, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. And if you want to support my channel in a completely different way, I highly encourage you to go and check out my social media pages. I'm on the platforms you see on the bottom of your screen. My handle is @Jinsula. Make sure you go over there and give me a follow, and you'll have access to some exclusive content, and you'll be able to keep up with my daily life. With all that said, that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself today, and I'll catch you all later. 진술라와 함께해.